Hi, Tracy and Kylie. I am here in London, ready to walk you through your mother-daughter English holiday itinerary and demo the app you'll be able to download on your phones with all the details of your trip. So let's get started while I share my screen. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is the date, which says May of 2025. This proposal is priced with this year's costs as we don't yet have full access to 2026 prices, but I should be able to price those out about 360 days out. So if we can iron out the itinerary, I'll get you updated prices in May for next year, if that's when you decide to travel. So for this year, the pricing is coming out to around $4,739, and that's for two people with round trip flights from Denver, lodging in London and Surrey, and some tours and sightseeing, but not all. You'll be able to choose your departure cities again once you know your departure dates. I always like to provide a little info on foreign currency and tipping practices, and I've listed the US Embassy in London in case you run into any serious issues, but that's an extreme if. And then I have you leaving on day one from Denver. Again, you can determine if that will be your final departure city once we refine the itinerary. You leave in the evening so you can sleep on the plane and arrive fresh in London the following morning, ready to hit the pavement and see what there is to see. I do also like to initially provide a private transfer from the airport to the hotel. It's just a lot to arrive and get oriented, let alone trying to figure out a bus or a train system. So I like to relieve the stress by making sure you have a driver waiting for you as soon as you step out with your luggage. You can decline this, obviously. Um, You'll also notice that I've provided at least two lodging options in each location. And the first I selected is a London boutique hotel near Victoria Station. So if you do decide to take the train in from the airport, you won't have to walk far to get to your hotel. It's also within walking distance of a lot of the things that you want to see. And you can get to know a little bit about the hotel by just clicking on these pictures and scrolling through them and seeing what your room would look like. Um, and I love that this one is furnished with handmade items produced locally in the West End, and you get your own little Nespresso machines in your room. But if you'd rather try something a little bit more upscale in the same general vicinity, I've listed the St. James Court, which is a typical Victorian masterpiece reminiscent of Great Britain's past. And you can take a look and decide which of these might be more to your liking. And we can look at others too, but I'm just trying to get a feel for what you really want to see and where you'd like to stay. I provide a little visitor guide to the city, just an overview of what there is to see and do in London. And since Kylie's been there already, she can probably direct you around. But here are some lovely sites that you can just scroll through. Then I thought on your first day, it might be fun to take one of the hop on, hop off bus tours. And this one actually has an optional river cruise as well. You could get a 48-hour ticket and use it the following day to take you to places you'd like to get back to if desired. But this one has a pretty comprehensive route, and you would see a lot on that bus tour. So that's all I have planned for that first day. Saturday is going to be a high tourist day, especially if you go towards the end of May. So I plugged in a guided tour of Buckingham Palace and Big Ben so you can skip the lines with all the other tourists and maximize your sightseeing time. This is a comprehensive 3-hour tour, and it's a walking tour. It covers London's top 20 landmarks, and you could check a lot of things off on your list by just going through this one tour. But if a group tour isn't your thing, these walks can be made private. You do pay for that luxury. And obviously, you can also just explore on your own if you'd like. But also, because it's Saturday, Oh, and here are a whole bunch of other things you can explore on your own if you like. Just listen, and they're all live links so you can see what they are. But I thought Saturday would also be a great time for you to take in dinner and a show. I budgeted around $300 for this, but it does depend on where you eat dinner and what show you see at the time. The next day is Sunday, and the perfect time to take a lazy cruise down the wharf, West India Key, and with schooner boat tours. This looks so fun. There are different options for different times of the year, so we'll need to nail that down the closer we get to your departure date. And then you have to take in high tea somewhere in London while you're there. So I provided the top locations for afternoon tea in London. And I'm sure there are more, but these are the ones that are really well known. Monday, you check out, you say goodbye to London, and head off to the countryside. It might be a good time for a day trip to Stonehenge if this is something you really want to do, because it's kind of a transition day. And because we're packing in as much as possible, I did find a tour that will also take you to Windsor Castle and Bath. But that may be more than you want to do. So I also have you taking the train from London to Surrey that late afternoon or evening. So that could be a long day if you decide to do all of that. And then I have you checking into an Airbnb. Again, I've listed two options here. Remember that line in The Holiday where Arthur asks Iris where she's from, and she says Surrey. And he says, oh, Cary Grant was from Surrey, except he wasn't. Cary Grant was from Bristol. But Surrey is where Iris's cottage is. And so that's where I tried to get some Airbnbs that you might like to stay in. And this one is very much out in the country, might be a little too far out for you. So I've listed a second one as well. The links are live, so you can go through and check. Look at this one. It's got the Northern Lights in the backyard. So you can take a look and see if this is what you were thinking of. They are much smaller. Everything is much smaller in England. So if you're wanting 2 bedrooms, do let me know, because I was not finding that in any of these places. And then I also listed a legitimate, regular B&B if that's something that you're interested, also in Surrey. Okay, so on Tuesday, I thought you might enjoy a low-key day of renting bikes and exploring the countryside with a picnic basket in tow. I've even downloaded some cycle routes if you're interested in seeing where you could go. So feel free to take a look at that. And on Wednesday, I thought it might be a great day for a day trip to Guildford Castle or Hampton Court Palace, the home of Henry VIII. These are all probably just within 30 minutes of where you're staying. And on Friday, oops, did I do that? Thursday. The final day, Thursday, I listed some options. You could head to the beach in Southampton. We could find a polo match. You could take in a wine tour. The RHS, Royal Horticultural Society Garden Wiley is nearby. These would all require transportation. So that would take a little bit more digging on my part to figure out how to get you to those places, but those are some options. And then, of course, you're checking out on Friday, taking the train back to London and boarding a flight back to Denver. So that is your London itinerary framework. Everything can be changed. Take a little time to explore, and then let me know your feedback. I didn't plan too much. When I travel, I like to have one thing a day planned and leave the rest sort of spontaneous, just to see what pops up. But others like to have the days completely planned and packed. So you just let me know what your preference is. I look forward to hearing your feedback and planning the next steps. Enjoy, and we'll talk soon.